Hey everybody, Mike Eccles here, and I'm here for the last time. It is finally the end of probably one of the most memorable, if not the most memorable semester you're ever going to have. Even if you had semesters before where a lot of good things happen, this is one that you're never going to forget. That's for darn sure. And this, of course, will be your final exam. But before we do that, I just want to say a lot of really good papers came in on the mass media law ethics. Some of you did actually watch the film. I'm sorry that you had to rent it. I don't know what I did wrong. I bought it, I downloaded it, I have it. How you weren't able to get it, I have no idea. I will try to figure that out for the future in case I have to do that again. But otherwise, the rest of you who did watch the New York Times 60 Minutes interview, and of course that 2.5 minute interview, those clips that they had of Richard Jewell. And I have to tell you, I haven't seen yet when it talks about ethics by the mass media. And here I think is the worst part is even though I did love the film directed by Clint Eastwood, I think it's probably the New York Times that probably showed it best. And Richard actually refers to this in that 2.5 minute interview he did, or that clip that was only 2.5 minutes long, where it wasn't just a few reporters. It wasn't like, if you watch, after, like, say, an NBA game with LeBron James, where you might have 20, 30, 40 reporters. This was the Olympic Games. And let's be honest, when the United States hosts the Olympic Games, the media comes. Typically because we're the U.S. and we have the capacity to hold more people than usually any other country when it comes to hotel rooms and accommodations and that kind of thing. You go to a place like Atlanta or Los Angeles or something like that. So you literally had the entire world press in Atlanta for the 96 Olympics. And when this story broke with Richard Jewell, that, when the Atlanta Journal Constitution said, well, he might have done it. Oh my goodness. That parking lot outside his mother's garden apartment, he was not exaggerating. He said thousands, and it was true. And you get some really good glimpses of that with the New York Times report that they did. I mean, we're talking thousands of reporters. Thousands, all hounding him about something that, of course, he did not do. It was easily provable that he didn't do it. It was just amazing. One of the things that neither the movie or what you saw, things that I remember, I was about 30 years old when this all happened. And of course, I'm a huge Olympics fan, so I was watching the Olympics and then got into the story. I was actually doing morning radio at the time. We never really talked about Richard Jewell on the morning show. But one of the things I do remember, and it's in the movie, there's a part of it in the movie where Richard Jewell's mother, I guess, did some babysitting, and the FBI was taking stuff out of his apartment, out of his mother's apartment, and it included a lot of videotapes, like Disney tapes and stuff. And I remember, I'll never forget, I don't know who the reporter was, but there was real time film clips of the reporters taking this box of videos where you could see some Disney films at the top of the box, and they were speculating that Richard Jewell was a pedophile, that he would try to lure kids in with these videos. I mean, it was unbelievable, the stories that were told and printed about Richard Jewell over this whole thing, without any kind of confirmation, without truthfulness, honesty, accountability. It was just so bad. And I can't think of another example. I did show you the clip of the miners, where, I mean, those poor families, I mean, they were overjoyed for a few hours, probably as happy as they'd ever been in their life for a few hours, all to have that changed. They went from being as happy as they've ever been in their life to as sad as they've ever been in their life. Why? Because some reporter, as Richard Jewell says in that 2.5 minute clip, just did not get confirmation. All right, well, now it's time for your final exam. Now, as you see in the attachment for your final exam, it's only one question. Okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to take that one question and apply it to 4 of your chapters. Now, there are several chapters listed in the assignment sheet. So you read the question, okay, and then you apply it to any of the 4 chapters. Now, remember, it's open textbook, open notebook, all right? You've known that since January. And I fully expect that you'll have your textbook open and your notebook open, going over a lot of the things that we talked about, what's in the textbooks currently. Remember, and I don't really want to give you this hint, as I've not done this in the past with my other classes, but just remember, it's like once this book goes into print the very first time and it starts to hit classrooms for the first time, about 20% of it is already, it's done. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's already outdated. Okay, that's how fast moving a lot of our technology is with mass media. And of course, when you look at what's happened here, the kind of thing that we're seeing right now. By the way, I don't want to give you a hint on one of the answers that you could use, but I will say this. Do you remember how many times I've showed you articles talking about Netflix? Guess who's not in trouble anymore? So there's your final exam. And your final exam is due on, remember, I said this earlier, on Friday, May 1st at 11:59 p.m. This will give me the weekend to grade it, and then, of course, I'll have your final grades to you no later than Monday, May 4th. Now, on your exam paper, I actually scanned in the final exam paper, and I didn't update it. So where it says, please write legibly, this is typically a handwritten exam. So you could ignore the please write legibly, but I do want it about a paragraph for each of these answers. And again, you're taking that question and then choose 4 of the chapters that are listed on your assignment sheet and apply that question to each of those 4 chapters that you've chosen. Type out your paper and email it to me by Friday, May 1st, 11:59 p.m. All right, you guys, it's been a fun semester. I really enjoyed reading your Richard Jewell papers, your film paper, not the film paper, the mass media law, the ethics. Your research papers were excellent. Many of you had excellent research papers. So this is it. This is the last assignment. You guys take care, and I wish you all the very best of luck in the future.